Have you ever imagined the world without natural sounds from the wild animals? Birds of different classes chirping every morning. Deforestation is a menace that exposes the wildlife to a high risk of extinction, more so the birds with nests built on the peak of the long-lived indigenous trees. Not only do the birds lack a natural habitat, but also extend to drying up of water sources. Kenya is now experiencing an unprecedented level of drought that has since seen many pastoral communities lose their livestock and even their lives. This is one that has never been experienced in a long while, some people say in about 4 decades now.
Mfuko ni yangu. Inategemea mfuko kama watoto. Ukienda kwa duka ufanya budget ya watoto, unafanya budget ya ng'ombe yako. Sasa ng'ombe kwa siku kama sina 6,000 ama 7,000 wanakaa njaa. Na hizi ndio tegemeo. Sasa zikiisha, onekana hata sisi tutaisha. Ndio hakuna sasa kimbilio isipokuwa mifuko.
The state of Kenya's dilapidating environment has been a never-ending discussion, and with the greatest current climatic change, talks within the government have taken place and measures are yet to be set to combat these issues.
The central role forests play in addressing the effects of climate change has become more prominent now than ever, thanks to their unparalleled capacity to absorb, store carbon, and regulate climate. Of the 59.2 million hectares land in Kenya, only 5.2 hectares are under forest cover. The remaining 54 million hectares are largely in arid and semi-arid areas. We are at the final stages of designing a special presidential forestry and rangeland restoration program. This effort is spearheaded by the Ministry of Environment and Forestry, various experts and partners in government, UN organizations, NGOs, and the academia. The objective is to grow 5 billion trees in the next 5 years and an additional 10 billion trees by 2032. This will eventually lead to the rehabilitation and restoration of 10 million hectares in our 290 constituencies, as well as some specially selected ecosystems and water towers threatened by degradation and destruction.
Though policies have been created, discussed, and implemented over the years, could there be a root cause to this never-ending issue of negligence in environmental conservation in Kenya?
I call upon the Council of Governors to facilitate more discussion to achieve parity in tree cover by using peer-to-peer learning and exchange of information. The government will champion the transformation of forestry and rangeland restoration to support the greening of Kenya so as to combat climate change.
Daystar University is set in a semi-arid area, experiencing prolonged periods of the hot and dry climatic conditions. Despite the hot and dry conditions, the school has been able to make the best out of the harsh weather conditions and strived to make the area attractive and conducive by planting trees in a bid to beautify the institution and attract rainfall. There is also the use of solar energy and startups of farming through the Environmental Club. Talking to one of the leaders of Daystar Mazingira, they explained to us how this is possible.
My name is Chris Avram, the founder and former president of Daystar Mazingira. I actually handed over, but I had a 3-year term. It was about 25 members. We are focusing on 5 thematic areas. So there's afforestation, waste management, water management, energy efficiency, and sustainable agriculture. So afforestation was, of course, to plant trees for different benefits. So these trees would either be for beauty, some for medicinal purpose, others for shade, zingine as a food security, so fruit trees. And then we set a target. We said at least we're going to be planting maybe 2,000 trees every month or every other month. Our initial target was 10,000, which we've already surpassed. We're close to 12,000 trees right now, which have been planted both in and out of the school. Our waste management, so basically to manage waste better in terms of doing occasional cleanups, training people to understand waste and how we can better the community. Then we had water management. Well, when we started, it wasn't raining as much, but when it would rain, it would pour. So we wanted a way we could store that water, that we can use it either for irrigation or even drinking purposes. So the idea was rainwater harvesting, and we couldn't do that because we had asbestos as our roofing. So we also pitched that we need to remove the asbestos, which was done. And then now the gutters on the roof have now been put up, like for example, School of Law, Mrs. Office. Energy efficiency, basically moving the institution from off-grid electricity to clean and green energy. It didn't make sense to us. We're in a very hot place, but we're not using solar. We did an assessment. We did a feasibility study. We realized wind energy is going to be very expensive. So we pitched for solar instead. Solar street lighting for our visibility at night. So the school has started implementing that slowly. So number one, the generator that used to pump water from the borehole is now solar powered. They're now moving slowly to put solar water heating in our hostels. Solar street lighting has been done and is continuing to be done in phases. Sustainable agriculture, introduction of a farm inside the school. This would help in different ways. Number one, people could feed off that farm, so we know we're eating safe food because we are the ones producing it. The school would also be able maybe to sell this produce and get a profit and maybe help some people offset their school fees as part of work study.
Environment is a topic most Kenyan youths show little or no interest. How then can their attention be captured to this matter?
Yeah, we used to do mobilization campaigns. We grouped them. There'd be in-person marketing, where we'd send people and say, go talk to 10 people, tell them what we were doing. There's also email marketing, where we'd send an email through, of course, the official channels of the school to tell people about the club. We used to use social media a lot to market ourselves, and also events. We also had radio interviews, so I used to go for interviews.
Challenges come along with the job of doing what most people will not fancy and will say is tiring. What are these challenges and what measures can be put in place?
Biggest challenge that we have is there are no designated places to dispose waste. They create their own. And for Kenyans, creating your own is digging a hole. That does is that hole fills up and Athiriver being a very windy place, most of that is blown to now different places. Number two is our population. We have a very huge population of campus to solve it. We need proper places for waste disposal, need a working relationship with the county because it is their mandate to come either once or twice in a month to pick up the waste. Then we need regular cleanups and we also need a lot of sensitization and education. There's something called political goodwill. Is if the government wants to pass a certain bill, of course that has to go through parliament. You have to have certain people or the vote be in your favor. For the environmental sector, there's a lack of political goodwill. So many people don't see the benefit of some of the bills. Finance is also a big problem because you need to, most of the projects are expensive when you start, but they're cheaper in the long run. There's also a lack of awareness and education around environmental conservation. Most people really don't understand the impact of their actions. There's also a lack of administration will. The new administration, at least there was support.
In order to make something great for the future, you must sacrifice now. This has lived to be told in the school of Daystar as more trees have been planted over time and the environment made attractive and conducive. One can bask under a tree enjoying the shade while having a clean and green environment to live in. This is just but one benefit. There are more benefits to being involved in the environmental club.
You'd be certified and trained by the world's leading organizations, UNEP, Microsoft, Coca-Cola. So you'd also get a lot of knowledge, education, and awareness beyond the classroom too. You'd be able to impact the world in a better way. Let's talk of something like planting a tree. There's even a saying that says the one who benefits from planting a tree is not the one who's going to sit under it. It's the next generation. And then there's also the opportunity to grow in what you love. The people who are doing environmental health, the people who are doing public health, this is an opportunity for them to do research and, to break the monotony of classwork.
Look after the land and the land will look after you. Destroy the land and it will destroy you. With this in mind, we hope to create a better tomorrow by starting now. Reporting for Shine FM, my name is Tracy Mudeu.